Ba't ganon? Ang tatalakay natin ngayon ay ang bat dahil ito ang pamagat ng ating channel kung kaya't minabuti kong talakayin ang salitang ito. Subalit ano-ano nga ba ang mga bagay na kaugnay ng salitang bat? Ba't ganon? Ang tatalakay natin ngayon ay ang bat dahil ito ang pamagat ng ating channel kung kaya't minabuti kong talakayin ang salitang ito. Subalit ano-ano nga ba ang mga bagay na kaugnay ng salitang bat? Pwede rin namang bat na ginagamit sa baseball or sa larong softball. Pwede ring si Batman, diba? Nakilala nating superhero. Pero, ang bat kasi na ang buong pagkakasulat nito sa Tagalog or sa wikang Filipino ay bakit. Ang salitang bakit ay why sa salitang Ingles. Kaya naman naging B, A, apostrophe T ay inumit ang K at I letters para smooth at pinaiksi na marinig ang tanong na bakit or in other words ay bat. Ngunit ngayon, specifically, ang tinutukoy natin ay ang paniki or bat sa English. Minarapat ko itong i-discuss sa inyo upang magkaroon tayo ng mga dagdag kaalaman sa mga bagay-bagay na nakikita natin sa paligid. Kung handa ka na ay panoorin mo ang videong to. Ayon sa Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia, bats are mammals of the order Chiroptera with their forelimbs adopted as wings. They are the only mammals capable of true and sustained flight. Bats are more maneuverable than birds, flying with their very long spread out digits covered with a thin membrane or patagium. Sa tinagalog na Wikipedia, pulapnit o sa Filipino, paniki ay isang lumilipad na mamalya sa order ng Chiroptera na may braso na naging pakpak. Nagpapatangay lamang sa hangin ang ibang mga mamalya katulad ng mga lumilipad na ardilya o mga palanger. Ngunit ang paniki lamang ang totoong lumilipad. Sinalin ang pangalang Chiroptera bilang kamay na pakpak dahil katulad ng kayarian ng bukas na pakpak nito sa pinabukas na kamay ng isang tao na natatakpan ng isang lamad. Ano ba yung lamad? Ang lamad ay strukturang tulad ng kumot, malambot at nagsisilbing angahan, hati o panloob na rabaw sa organismo. Tapos may isa pang meaning yung lamad, malambot at manipis na balat at iba pang katulad na strukturang manipis. Let's take a closer look at the taxonomy structure hierarchy in which bats are associated. The following two examples are based on the gray-headed flying fox and the gold-wattled bat. So, ang description niya dito sa gray-headed flying fox, Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Mammalia, Order Chiroptera, Suborder Megachiroptera, Family Theropodidae, Genus Theropus, and ang species niya is poliocephalus. Gold swath-lead bat. Ito naman ay ang classification. Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Mammalia, Order Chiroptera, Suborder Microchiroptera, malilit na bats. Family Brispertilionidae. Ang genus is Calinolobus. Species Goldie. So, yan yung dalawang uri ng bat. May microbat and may megabat, yung malaki. So, ayon din sa aking na search ay ang bat ay flying mammals. Although they may fly like a bird, bats are actually warm-blooded mammals. Their wings consist of a thin membrane of skin that stretches across a bone structure, very similar to those of a human, only elongated and much smaller. This membrane is so thin, they appear transparent when flying. The finger bones of bats are more flexible than other mammals, and they are flattened instead of circular, making it even more flexible. The size of their wings can vary depending on the species and the habitat in which they live. So, ganun yung structure ng kanilang katawan. So, animal classification is the categorizing of animals and organisms hierarchically. The ranking system is based on a fixed number of levels such as kingdom, family, or genus. So, ganun siya inilagay as parang inorganize as classification. So, ganun yung katindi para mailagay sa tamang hanay kung anong uri ng hayop sila. In human civilization, ano ba ang kahulugan ng paniki? So, let's have English meaning of dreaming a bat. Bat, which only comes out at night, is deemed as an unlucky creature representing disasters. Bat is considered fearsome in the West. As a nocturnal creature, bat symbolizes the subconscious associated with early traumatic experiences. On the other hand, it is a symbol of intuitive wisdom because it can fly in the dark with intuition rather than eyes. So, ganun yung meaning nila sa Western countries. Okay? May paniniwala rin ayon sa na-research ko, the bat spirit animals means that one can make blind choices based on their guts. They do not have to have the full story, but they can use their intuition to make their decision. Alternatively, the bat spirit animal means that one can start a new journey into the spiritual realm without ego. They, however, have to make sure that they keep at par with their inner spiritual self. Also, the bat spirit animal serves to remind the bat people that if they remain in their present status, all will be well. So, parang ganun siguro kinuha yung character ni Batman kung ano yung intuition niya So, tama lagi intuition niya Ewan ko lang So, ganun nga siguro. At ang nakakatuwa dito ay ito. Alam nyo ba, sa Pinas ay may movie na inspired sa paniki. At panoorin nyo ito. Di pa huli ang Greece syempre at ang mga sinaunang kaalaman na pwede nating pagbasihan ay ang sibilisasyon ng Griego at ito ang sulat ng salitang bat sa pagkakasalin sa Greek. So yan, makikita nyo naman yan sa screen nyo. So di na muna tayo mag-concentrate sa Greek dahil nabanggit ko naman ang update classification ng bat. Meron naman niyang pagkaka-organize. Dagdag pa dito, sa Guinness World Record ay may naitalang ganito. Flying Foxes Theropodidae. Yun. So, natagpuan yan sa United Kingdom. Ang sabi dito, the largest bats in the world are the flying foxes or fruit bats. So, ang kinakain nila ay prutas. Particularly, those living in Southeast Asia, several species in the genus Theropus have a head body length of up to 45 cm. So, ganun ka haba. A wingspan of 1.7 meter. Ayan, halos 5 feet yun. And 7 inches. Ganun kahaba yung kanilang pakpak. Okay? And a weight of 1.6 kilograms. So, meron silang bigat na halos 1 kilo. Ayan. The biggest are generally considered to be the large flying fox and the gigantic or Indian flying fox. Although certain other mammals are capable of gliding, bats are the only mammals capable of true flight. So, yung mga mammals lang daw na parang merong mga itsurang pakpak, nagga-glide lang sila or nagpapatangay lang sa hangin. Samantalang itong paniki, talaga nakakalipad sila. Tsaka kung mapapansin ninyo, flying fox yung ipinangalan kasi yung itsura niya mukha siyang fox. And now, dito naman tayo mag-concentrate dahil dito nga iikot ang ating paksa. Bakit nga ba madalas banggitin ang mga katagang ba't ganun? Ito ay isang ekspresyon kapag may something unusual, di ba? Nagtatanong ang isang tao ng ba't ganun kung di niya pa alam ang sagot, di ba? Kung sumasang-ayon ka sa akin ay maaaring gamitin natin itong mga katagang ito kapag tayo ay madalas na nagtataka sa mga bagay-bagay. Kung gagamit tayo ng salitang ba't ganun, ay maaaring curious tayo sa ating tinatanong. Di ba meron nga? Ginagamit rin ang ba't na salita kapag ayaw natin sa isang bagay. Anak! Maghugas ka na ng pinggan! Ma! Ba't ako? Alright, just kidding mga guys. Pinapatawa ko lang kayo. Kung nakaka-relate ka sa joke na yan. So, ngayon, sisimulan na natin ang pagtalakay sa mga samot-saring ba't ganon edition ng ating channel. Please subscribe and like. Hanggang sa muli, patuloy niyong subaybayan at patuloy na magtanong ng ba't ganon. So, see you sa next video. Thank you and goodbye. Ba't ganon? Ang galing ng mga Japanese gumawa ng anime. Pumukaw sa aking interes ang husay ng mga Japanese sa paggawa ng anime. Marahil dahil na rin sa nagtuturo ako ng kultura ng Asian countries as a teacher. At siguro dala na rin ng pagkahilig ng mga Pinoy sa mga comics, manga, or animation. So, simulan na natin ang topic na ito. Namakura Gatana, ang kauna-unahang anime na na-produce sa Japan. Ang kahulugan ng Namakura Gatana ay mapurol na espada. that was made sometimes in the year 1917. Pero ang pinakaunang basic form ng anime ay nabuo or nagawa noong taong 1906. Subalit ito ay hindi daw legitimate ayon sa paniniwala ng iba. The short animated film was called Katsudo Shashin. Depicts a young boy drawing the Japanese characters for Katsudo Shashin na ginamitan ng 15 iba't ibang frame, each of which was stenciled onto a strip of celluloid, a type of thermoplastic film. There have been several claims that other films entered Japan around this time too, but none have been able to be fully verified. According ito sa website ng japanjunkie.com. Ayon naman sa quora.com, ang sabi naman ay si Shimokawa Oten or si Shimokawa is currently regarded as the oldest confirmed Japanese animation film, having been released in February 1917. Okinawa-born Shimokawa, 1892 hanggang 1973 ang lifespan niya. Was a disciple of manga artist Rakuten Kitazawa and worked for the film production company Tenenshoku Gatsudo Shashin. He was 24 years old when the Kobu was first released. Rakuten Kitazawa is a pen name of Kitazawa Yasuji. Ito talaga ang kanyang tunay na pangalan. Kitazawa Yasuji was a Japanese manga artist and Nihonga artist. He drew many editorial cartoons and comic strips during the years from the late Meiji era through the early Showa era. He is considered by many historians to be the founding father of modern manga because his work was an inspiration to many younger manga artists and animators. He was the first professional cartoonist in Japan and the first to use the term manga in its modern sense. Isang manga artist na nag-drawing ng maraming editorial cartoons and comic strips bago ang Meiji era at siya raw ang father of modern manga at kauna-unang professional cartoonist ng Japan at ng taong gumamit ng salitang manga. Sa edad na 14, naging disipulo ni Kitazawa na founder ng manga magazine Tokyo Puck na tinanggap naman sa Christian Academy Aoyama Gakuen dahil nga nirecommend siya ni Kitazawa. After ni Rakuten sa Tokyo Puck noong 1912, he began publishing ng mga bagong magazine na tinawag na Rakuten Puck. Hinikayat muli ang kanyang disipulo habang ginagawa for the new magazine in 1916. Nagkakilala naman si Shimokawa at si Tenkatsu na na-invite siyang gumawa ng kauna-unahang anime and the rest was history. Now, let's talk about Astro Boy. At ano ba yung katana? I-discuss natin yan. So, what is Japanese calligraphy? Japanese calligraphy, also known as shodo. Ang wika kasi nila is hiragana and katakana. Nung naimbento yung mga ganitong paraan ng pakikipagtalastasan. At nagkaroon naman ng shodo. Ang shodo kasi, yun yung art nila sa pagsusulat. ang tawag sa art ng pagsulat ay calligraphy. So, shodo is the art of writing by hand to create letters or symbols using a brush dipped in ink. It's beautiful art form as well as a means of communication. True Japanese calligraphy is done with a bamboo brush and sumi ink. So, ano ba meaning ng shodo? Shodo is the way of writing. So, i-connect ko ang shodo at manga for the meantime. The history of manga is said to originate from scrolls dating back to the 12th century. And it is believed they represent the basis for the right-to-left reading style. The word first came into common usage in the late 18th century. Manga is a Japanese term that can be translated as comics. Historians and writers on manga history have described two broad and complementary processes shaping modern manga. Their views differ in the relative importance they attribute to the role of cultural and historical events following World War II versus the role of pre-war Meiji and pre-Meiji Japanese culture and art. The distinctive Japanese writing system developed and calligraphers produce styles intrinsic to Japan. So, yung pagsulat nila ay parang yun yung nagsilang ng panibagong arts which is manga. Yung manga sa salitang naiintindihan natin, comics. So, yung kultura nila sa pagsulat is nadala nila sa kanilang pagiging creative sa pagdodrawing. Yan. Truly notable calligraphic writing takes decades to master and can be valued as much as paintings and other forms of Japanese art. The practice is more than art. It's a harmonious and philosophical process that is expressed through a careful configuration of brush strokes. Japanese calligraphy fuses poetry, literature, and painting by possessing rhythm, emotion, aesthetic, and spirituality in one unique art form. It's such an important aspect of Japanese culture and ideas that it's even introduced to Japanese children as early as elementary school. The foundation of Japanese calligraphy originated in China during the Han Dynasty, with all basic form developed by 220 AD. It was introduced in Japan in the 6th century AD as a means to stay in contact between countries. So, ganun yung naging history ng kanilang pagkahilig sa pagdodrawing. Though ideographic elements have been found in writing systems since roughly 2500 BC, the Japanese calligraphic manuscript became so sophisticated that it is admired by cultures all over the world today. So, let's talk about calligraphers. So, ang sikat na calligraphers ay si Ono no Michikaze, a prominent government official, poet, and calligrapher, is considered the founder of Japanese calligraphy. Kaya yun, sa aking palagay, ang kultura ng pagsulat ng mga Japanese at ang pagpainting nila ay nag-emerge kaya nabuo ang mga manga na comics sa ating pagkakaunawa sa ating wika. Comics kasi ang alam natin sa mga ganitong babasahin noong araw. Ngayon, nung makagawa ang Japanese ng paraan para mapakilos at mapagalaw ang mga drawings, ito ay nagsimula or dito na nagsimula talaga ang napaka-imaginative way ng mga tao sa paggawa ng anime. So, dito nagsimula ang animation. So, ganon kagaling ang Japanese dahil yung kanilang pagsulat ay connected sa kanilang pagdodrawing. Yung pagdodrawing is part ng kanilang kultura. Pumukaw sa aking interes ang height and build ng Pinoy. Marahil dahil na rin sa nagtuturo ako ng physical education as a teacher. At siguro dala na rin ng genes natin at hobbies pati kinakain ng mga Pinoy. So, simulan na natin ang topic na to. Ang ating bansa ay nasa Southeast Asia at ito ay ayon sa record na masesearch natin over the internet. A written record na searchable na ang average Filipino height is 156.41 cm or 5 feet and 1.57 inches tall. The average Filipino man is 163.22 centimeters or 5 feet 4.25 inches tall. The average Filipino woman is 149.60 or 4 feet 10.89 inches tall. At yun nga, ang kabuuang average ay 156.41 centimeters. Example lang natin ang mga height. So, pangalanan natin. Meron tayo dito Filipino named Raul Villo. Meron siyang 7 feet and 3 inches at siya ang pinakamataas sa PBA. And currently, nandito si William Biscocho na mayroong 7 feet and 4 inches and the tallest man in the Philippines this 2020. At syempre, sinerch ko rin ang height ni Kai Soto. Kai Soto is 7 feet and 3 inches. Yan ang mga Filipino na nasa Pilipinas na mayroong record na matataas na mga height. Ayon sa insider.com, panglima ang Philippines sa 25 countries. Ang title ng kanilang inilabas na website rank the countries with the shortest people in the world, 25 countries. Kung meron tayong matangkad, syempre meron din tayong maliit. So, the smallest Pinoy is Junrei Balawi na may edad na 25 years old, was a Filipino record holder at the Guinness World Records for the world's shortest man alive, measuring at 60 centimeters or 23.62 inches tall. So halos parang isang ruler lang yun, ano? Lagpas lang ng konti siguro. According dito, we have 0.67 meter or 2 feet and 1/3 inches. O yan, halos dalawang ruler pala. So, dumako na tayo sa topic natin kung ba't ganun? Bakit nga ba ganun? Kung Compare sa ating mga kapwa-taong nakatira sa West, especially in America, almost all people there averaging 6 feet in height. Tanggalin muna natin ang genes or lahi natin. Let's talk about first the situation that we are all human. Human are eating and doing their everyday tasks. Ganon din naman ang mga tao sa Amerika. Kumakain at nagtatrabaho. But, to add something interesting, ba't nga ba mas maliit ang Pinoy compare sa mga taga-kanluraning bansa? Tingin ko dyan ay ayon sa kinakain natin dahil most of our food is combined with rice. Minsan nga, mga root crops na kulang sa vitamins and minerals. Kaya imbis na pataas tayo ng pataas, pabilog tayo ng pabilog. Sa Amerika kasi, bread ang binabanatan nila doon. And ang bread nila doon was whole wheat bread or wholemeal bread is a type of bread made using flour that is partly or entirely milled from whole or almost whole wheat grains. Iba kasi ang pagkain natin sa Amerika and iba ang kultura ng Western countries sa Eastern countries gaya ng China, South Korea, Japan at pati na ang Malaysia, Singapore, pati Thailand and Vietnam na producers ng rice. Breakfast. Most popular breakfast of America. It's eggs. No word on how people like them to be prepared, but fully 65% of the Americans surveyed ranked eggs as their top breakfast pick, while coffee and cereal followed with 58% and 56% respectively. So, doon naman tayo sa lunch. The most popular combination for lunch is probably soup and salad. Many restaurants offer a combo meal for lunch with your choice of soup and salad. So, we have here 6 combinations sa lunch nila, no? Number 1, rice plus chicken plus salad. Number 2, potato, cheese, and beans. Number 3, bread plus egg and bell peppers. Number 4, fries, beef, and tomato. Number 5, we have quinoa, turkey, and broccoli. And the last, number 6, we have couscous plus pork and spinach. So, ganun pala ang meals nila. Okay, so lunch. And we have here in their dinner. Dinner often consists of main entree of meat, chicken, or fish, with side dishes of rice, potato, or pasta, and vegetable or salad. Most people drink water, iced tea, juice, soda, wine, or beer with their evening meal. So, pang evening meal lang pala nila yung yung mga ganong mga kinakain. Many Americans also eat between meals. These are called snacks. So, meron din pala silang snack. Kung meron silang mga meals, in between nun, meron din silang kinakain pagkain at ang tawag nila doon ay snacks. Hamburger. Hamburger is considered by many people as the national dish of the US because of its popularity across all age groups. So, sikat na sikat ang hamburger. Samantalang ang Pinoy, normally, ay kanin ulam. So, what is the effect of this food to our growth? It has a significant factor for the body to get grow foods and became part of our body. Support the bone growth and muscle growth. Kaya alam mo na kung ano ang dapat mong kainin para lalo kang tumangkad at magkaroon ng mga laman-laman. Kaangit naman kasi yung matangkad ka lang pero wala ka namang muscles. Speaking of muscles, need din natin ng oxygen ng muscles. Kaso, ang bansa natin ay napapaligiran ng dagat. Dahil napapaligiran tayo ng dagat compare sa western countries, ang oxygen doon ay sobrang dami. Compare mo naman ang Pilipinas sa USA. Ilang daang Philippines kaya ang pwede magkasya sa loob ng USA continent, di ba? So, kapag mag-exercise ka or magtatrabaho ka, the more na maraming oxygen, the more na nakaka-develop ito ng muscles. Hindi ko sinasabing nauubos na ang ating oxygen sa Pilipinas pero gusto kong bigyan din na kapag mag-exercise ka, piliin mo yung lugar na di polluted. And speaking of exercise, tayong mga Pinoy ay di aware sa active lifestyle. While in America, they are very active especially in their school activities. At pinapahalaga nila ang physical education. Sa ating bansa, meron ding physical education or in short is PE. Kaso nga lang, hindi ito nabibigyan ng gaanong importansya. Sa Greece nga, kung matatandaan nyo, sa Greek and Roman literature, kahit sa painting lang makikita mo ang ganda ng build ng katawan ng mga ito. Samantalang mga painting natin sa Pinas, karamihan tampok noong araw ay magagandang tanawin. Kasi nga, yun ang maganda sa ating lugar. Going back to the height of Pinoy, di may kakaila na maliit talaga ang Pinoy, subalit kaya nating makipantay sa ibang bansa lalo na at napag-aaralan natin ang mga bagay-bagay na ito. At kung may apply natin sa ating lifestyle, siguro darating ang panahon na di na tayo maihahanay sa maliliit na tao sa buong mundo. Eat the right food, exercise regularly, expose yourself in unpolluted environment. Paglipas ng maraming henerasyon, nako, baka makapag-produce ang pure-blooded Filipino ng mga tunay na matataas na tao. Please subscribe and like. Hanggang sa muli, patuloy niyong subaybayan at patuloy na magtanong ng ba't ganon. So, see you sa next video. Thank you and goodbye. Pumukaw sa aking interes kung gaano kadelikado ang rabies. Marahil dahil na rin sa nagtuturo ako ng health sa MAPEH as a teacher. At siguro dala na rin ng mga nakakabahalang sakit o perwisyo na dulot nito. So simulan natin ang topic na to. Sa mga ginagawa kong video ay pilit nating inilalapit ito sa salitang fact o makatotohanan ang mga nare-research nating mga impormasyon. Gamit ang teknolohiya na available sa panahon natin ay ginagawa natin ng maliit na patikim ng mga ilang bahagi ng katotohanan, ang mga bagay-bagay na madalas nating itanong na ba't ganun? Bakit ganun? Kailangan nga bang malaman ang pinagmulan ng rabies? Ano nga ba ang rabies? Maraming bagay ang tungkol sa rabies na maaaring ikamatay ng mga tao kung di ito maaagapan. At minsan dahil sa kakulangan sa kaalaman tungkol sa lunas na pangmedisina ay may mga taong nasasayang ang buhay dahil sa rabies. Ang rabies ay nakukuha sa kagat ng aso. Pero di lang dyan nagtatapos ang lahat dahil maaring ang mga alaga pala nating hayop ay pwedeng magkaroon ng rabies, na kapag nakagat tayo ay maaari tayong marabis. Dahil ang rabies ay mula sa laway or saliva sa Ingles, na sa panahon natin ngayon ay itinuturing na virus. Ito ay nagmumula sa laway ng ating mga alagang hayop. Yes, you heard it right, guys. Dahil ayon sa ating panahon, ang organismo na matatagpuan sa laway ng ating mga alagang hayop ay tinatawag na virus. Actually, virus is not an organism according to science. Dahil ang isang organism or organismo ay halos may kumpletong parts. Samantalang ang virus ay kulang at hindi ito matawag na kumpletong cell. Ang virus ng rabies ay mas maliit pa sa ordinaryong cell at mas maliit pa ng 1,000 beses kaysa sa cell. Actually, million nga yata ang pagiging maliit nito. Or sa tawag ng mga scientists ay nasa nanometer ang size. Nano means smallest among the smallest term in measurement at hindi yung nano na unano hindi yun. Pero baka dun rin sigurong nakuha yung nano Pero wala tayong basihan dyan mga buddy. Dahil ang inaalam natin ay ang virus at ang sukat ng virus. Dahil wala nga namang malaking makapupuing, di ba? Yun ay kasabihan ng ating mga matatanda. At paano nga naman makakapasok sa cell ang virus kung mas malaki pa ito sa cell? Logic lang. So tama lang na dapat ay mas maliit ang virus kaysa sa cell. So bumalik tayo sa rabies, mga buddy. Alam nyo ba na ngayon natin naiintindihan ang virus ay virus at ang virus ay rabies at ang rabies ay virus? Nakakalito. Well, para sa ating kaalaman, noong unang panahon pala ay may virus na pala or may rabies na pala. Pero di pa lang ito nadidiskubre ng mga scientist. Gusto ko lang sana i-share sa inyo ang isang verse sa Bible na magpapatunay na may rabies na at dahil nga sa walang kaalaman, ang mga tao noong una ay natutuluyan ng mga nabibiktima ng ganitong karamdaman. So, napansin nyo ba na may aso sa kwentong nakasulat? Sa pinaniniwalaan nating nagbibigay sa atin ng kaalaman ng tunay na pangyayari. Di naman siguro manloloko ang nagsulat ng mga nakasulat dyan, no? Dahil alam naman natin na ang aklat na yan ay talaga namang authentic. Dala siguro ng ating advanced na teknolohiya ay nalaman natin ang mga sakit na dumadapo sa atin na kung minsan ay dahil di natin alam labanan. So, ang nangyayari, nasasayang ang mga buhay ng ating kaanak o kakilala. Ang rabies ay nakamamatay na sakit, subalit mayroong lunas ito at maaari tayong gumaling. Siguro ay di ko na pangimasukan ng mga nurse, doktor, or health worker sa bagay na ito dahil alam naman nating sila ang mas nakakaalam ng mga paraan upang makaligtas tayo sa rabies. Ang may papayo ko lamang ay once makagat ka ng aso or alaga ninyo na alam nyong posible kang marabis, ay maaari kang sumangguni sa pinakamalapit na health center or sa hospital or animal clinic upang malunasan agad at malaman ang gamot. Sana ay may na-share akong karagdagang kaalaman na kung minsan ay di natin nahanap sa mga libro sa panahon natin ngayon. Please subscribe and like. Hanggang sa muli, patuloy niyong subaybayan at patuloy na magtanong ng ba't ganon. So, see you sa next video. Thank you and goodbye. Good day, and today let's discuss the stages of infection and of course the chain of infection of the diseases. Let's talk about first stages of infection. Number 1, it is incubation. Number 2, the prodromal stage. Number 3 is the illness stage. And number 4, we have here the convalescence stage. Now, the incubation stage, it is the period starting from the entry of the pathogen until the appearance of the first sign. For example, chickenpox. It takes 2 to 3 weeks of incubation. For common cold, we have 1 up to 2 days of incubation. Influenza takes 1 to 3 days of incubation and 15 to 18 days for mumps. Yun yung beke sa Tagalog. Now let's have the prodromal stage. This stage starts from the onset of the non-specific signs and symptoms such as fever. So kung magkakasakit ka, ito yung sign or in Tagalog, simptomas. Okay? Number 3, we have the illness stage. Illness stage begins when more specific signs and symptoms appear. For example, common cold is characterized by sore throat, sinus congestion, rhinitis, and mumps, manifested by ear ache, high fever, and salivary gland swelling. This is the time that you almost feel and the symptoms are very evident. When we said symptoms, yung parang simptomas ay talagang ito ay nararamdaman natin na talagang nandyan na siya. Hindi mo na siya pwedeng ibaliwalain or hindi mo na siya kayang indahin. So you feel like it is very manifested at talagang malala yung sakit na nararamdaman mo. Hindi siya basta simpleng sore throat lang dahil talagang lalagnatin ka. So number 4, we have the convalescence stage. Last stage of infection is an interval when acute symptoms of infection disappear. The length of recovery depends on the severity of infection and the sick person's general state of health. Recovery may take several days to months. So this time you feel like you are recovering from this kind of illnesses enter in your body. So this is the time wherein you cope up or you overcome the kind of infection there inside your body. So that's it, these stages of infection. Now let's talk about the chain of infection. This is now the continuation of the topic stages of infection. Let's have the chain of infection. So this is almost 6. Okay, we have number 1, pathogen. Number 2, reservoir. Number 3, portal of exit. Number 4, mode of transmission. Number 5, we have portal of entry. And number 6, susceptible host. So let's talk about number 1. Una sa lahat, pathogen. When we said pathogen, it is an organism with the ability to cause diseases. So there's a lot of diseases in our planet. It might cause of bacteria or sometimes virus. So number 2, we have reservoir. It is a place within which microorganisms can thrive and reproduce. For example, human body, animals, and objects such as water, tabletops, and doorknob. These following objects can be the reservoir. Sa Tagalog, para siyang lagayan. Sometimes, human body can be a reservoir or lagayan because they can stay there for such a period of time wherein these viruses or bacteria can multiply, especially also animals, and again objects. In our time, as we experience COVID-19 pandemic, it is very easy to identify what are the causes of these diseases. We have viruses because COVID-19 is a coronavirus variant of a simple flu or colds, and it became very resistant to any weather condition or any kind of medicine. It has a very strong kind of virus in our time. Imagine these viruses can stay out of the reservoir or a human body or animals, and they can stay sometimes in some objects like water, tabletops, and doorknobs for such a long time, longer than a 24 hours. So that is how dangerous this COVID-19 virus we have. Having this kind of virus in our time, it is again mutating. Nag-mutate din ito. Ibig sabihin, once other virus can survive, they will reproduce again for this more resistant kind of virus. Kung lumakas tong virus na to, yung mga virus na yun na nakatagal sa uri ng klima or sa uri ng mga nadapuan niyang objects or even human body and animals, if they became stronger, then they are going to mutate, and then they are going to reproduce. So that's how dangerous COVID-19 we have. So let's discuss number 3, the portal of exit. Portal of exit provides a way for a microorganism to leave the reservoir. So when time comes, this portal of exit is where they are going to release. These are the opening wherein they can infect others. Like for example, you were going to sneeze, or halimbawa kung tayo ay uubo or babahing or hahatching, no? When we release these viruses inside our body, if the reservoir is the human, then this virus will be scattered. Kakalat yan at makakahawa sa iba. So these are the portal of exit. And sometimes, for example, these people were dead, or these animals. Just to remind you, hindi lang naman ito for human. It can be for animals. We have also the mode of transmission. The mode of transmission by which the organism moves from one host to another. It can be by contact, droplet, or airborne, foodborne, or waterborne. We also have vector-borne and usually insect. So these are the bacteria or virus or diseases that can be transferred to other person or to other animals. It can be by contact, droplet, or airborne, like that, foodborne, etc., etc. Okay, number 5, second to the last, we have portal of entry, an opening allowing the microorganism to enter the host. This includes body orifices, mucous membranes, or breaks in the skin. So this is where they are going to enter in our body. So when we said portal, again, it's an opening or a door wherein they can get into our body. So we have our nose, we have our mouth, we also have our ears, and especially in our eyes. So when they get into it, then they can again reproduce themselves, and they are going to affect our health. So when they stay there, they will be going to multiply themselves, and if they occupy the host, they are going to release again. They will find another portal of exit. If the people is, or the person is dead, then it's time to look for another victim. So that is how difficult we have this kind of viruses. So technically, after they have diagnosed the patient having COVID-19, immediately they are going to cremate it. In Tagalog, susunugin nila yung labi or yung bangkay, so that this virus will never infect others. So binabalot sila dun sa parang lagayan na tinatawag nilang cadaver. Yung cadaver isa itong container na may zipper. Okay? Easy zipper yun. If this dead body start to decay, if those body inside the cadaver nasa loob ng container na may zipper, okay, iba-iba kulay nun, no? they are not going to scattered in the air or in any person or host. And the last number 6, we have susceptible host, a person who cannot resist a microorganism invading the body due to immunity of physical resistance to overcome the invasion by the pathogenic microorganism. So, meaning to say, these are the people or person that can be easily affected by this kind of diseases. When we said invading the body due to immunity of physical resistance, it means if your body is too weak and they can easily invade the host or the body or the person, this is what they call susceptible host. Sila yung mga target ng mga virus or even bacteria. So this is our topic for today, and thank you. I hope you learned something from this discussion.